Welcome to the Road of Life podcast, the show for married entrepreneurs who want to build a thriving marriage and a thriving business. We're your hosts, Meredith and Craig, relationship experts and entrepreneurs ourselves. We know firsthand that your business will only grow as strong as your marriage does.
On this podcast, we share real stories, practical tools, and honest conversations to help you strengthen your relationship, fuel your business, and build a life you love together. Let's dive in.
Reverend Emilio and Daniela Roman are the dynamic duo behind the Co-Author Network, which helps people tell their story and become published authors. They even helped us become award-winning authors for the very first time.
Emilio is a former Marine, and it was an incredible honor to get to have this chit-chat with him on Veterans Day. He and Daniela bared their souls, shared deeply personal stories on how they started their healing journey. They provided their blueprint to healing through serving others. They also shared some of their roller coaster ride that is marriedpreneurship and some hard-earned lessons that have helped their business and their marriage take off. Welcome, Daniela and Emilio Roman, to the Road of Life podcast.
Oh, we're so excited you're here.
Oh, God, listen, big hugs to both of you. We saw you last in August.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For having us.
Our Facebook friends are real.
That's right. Oh my gosh, we were just having so much fun before we hit record. I can't believe we could keep a straight face through that whole first part. So let's just start off. Let everyone know what you're up to, how you got here. How did you guys end up in business together, and what is it exactly that you're up to?
All right. Well, thank you. If for those that don't know, Amelia and I had gone to high school together. So way back in the 80s. We're now, oh my goodness, in 2025, I feel like I'm ancient. So we went to high school together and never, we had a class together, English class or something like that, but never hung out, never dated, nothing like that. I did have a crush on him all through high school though, but he didn't know it. So fast forward, we graduated high school, he went his way, I went my way. And 28 years later, we connected, how else, on social media. We happened to see, we had a friend in common that we went to high school with. And I saw his name like in the comment and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, seriously, like Emilio Roman. I have not heard or seen that name in 28 years. And at that point, it wasn't like in my mind, like something, because I was actually going through a divorce, separation and all at that time. And so I'm home one night and it was like 1:00, 1:30 in the morning. And I get a message, how you can see the green dot, like, oh, they're on Facebook. And it's like, why aren't you sleeping? And I'm like, why are you messaging me 1:30 in the morning after 28 years? And then we literally texted from 1:30 till like 6:30 in the morning. Just talk. And then I actually admitted, I'm like, I had a crush on you all through high school. And he's like, why didn't you tell me? We could have had 5 grandbabies by now. I'm like, oh my God.
That was my opening line.
That was his answer. And I'm like, wow. And we met up 2 days later in person. And as they say, the rest is history. And it's, it was interesting because that was the last thing I was looking for at that point in my life, But as you know, and people that may be watching this and know him, know his energy, right? So it's kind of infectious. And, when we met up in person and he's like, Danielle, and I'm like, Emilio, and he gave me a hug. And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. Like, because I just felt that connection like that quickly. And we got married the year to the date of reconnecting in Hawaii. I got married 1 year later in Hawaii. Well, Magic Island, no less.
How did I not know that story?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that you guys met in high school and reconnected all those years later. And I totally get it, because when I met him and we started texting, the conversation flowed for hours. It was like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. Usually it's like, what do I say next? And this is awkward. And, did he text me first last time? It was none of that. So I totally understand your vibe that we just started texting, messaging back and forth and hours went by. What a good sign.
Yeah. That's so cool.
No, yeah, I'm excited. So, I love when she shares that story. So
yeah, and to get where we are now, I had been working. I worked for the court system and stuff like that. He's a retired Marine, and he was always full of ideas, and he had a book that he had done about veterans, 101 Ways to Thank a Veteran. So long story short, we kind of I shared something with him that I had not shared with anyone in 30 years, because he opened up to me about his childhood traumas and things like that. And it just triggered me to be like, you know what? I feel comfortable. I felt comfortable enough to share, my domestic violence relationships from my past and a sexual assault that had happened to me in my sleep when I was 19. And he's like, you need to share your story to help others. And of course, quickly right away, I was like, no, I could never put that out there like that. I never thought of writing a book, sharing anything like that. So actually, after having conversations and he encouraged me, we connected with someone actually out of Canada and he redid his a veteran book. And then I shared in an anthology for the first time my story of domestic violence and all that. And it just snowballed. And then unfortunately, we didn't have like the best experience out of that. And we were both like, you know what? Let's learn this business and do better, do the exact opposite. And we've been doing that ever since, sharing people's stories and honoring them. You were at our event, you see how we honor people, give awards. And that's kind of like how that happened.
That's so cool. And it just shows that, and because we talk about it a lot, the power of vulnerability. Like you guys got together and Emilio led the way a little bit, shared some vulnerable, stories and things about him. And that led you to be open. And then after having that vulnerability, the connection that you guys had, the bond that you deepened, it's a superpower in your relationship. And you were able to kind of like pull that out early. That's really cool.
Thank you for sharing that because that's exactly what you articulated better than I expressed it to her. I had shared to her. I said, listen, you can't heal in secret. And so that was like a light bulb moment for her. She was like, I was like, and I said, by the way, it's selfish of you if you don't share your story. And I continue that message today. When I meet men and women and we are sharing with them about the opportunities to come into an anthology and why you want to do it. Yes, it adds the credibility that you're a published author. Yes, it has all the business benefits, but the biggest one is that you can help someone with your story. Your story has that impact, but only if you're not selfish. And you have to let go of the outcome because there's going to be people that are going to judge you. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you shared that. I can't believe you shared, Emilio, that you were molested not once but twice by family members. Like, we would never say that. But because I had that courage and that spiritual nudge, Daniela can tell you better than I, how many people have approached her? And I was like, if it's okay with you, there was one incident where multiple, but I know one incident where when she first shared her domestic violence, someone shared something with her. And I knew that it didn't matter what I said at the time. That convinced her that her story was that powerful. Remember?
Yeah. Right after I shared for the first time, a woman reached out to me and I didn't know her. And she said, thank you for sharing your story. I read your story and I gave the book to my daughter and it encouraged her finally to leave her abusive husband. And I was like, wow, it doesn't get better than that. It doesn't, you get no better confirmation than that I did the right thing. So I think about that. I'm like, and I will say to myself, because sometimes we beat ourselves up, right? I'm like, wow, had I not waited 30 years, imagine how many people I could have helped over those 30 years. But you know what? I'm here now, and it was the right time.
Yeah, exactly. We're all on our own journey and it all happens when it's supposed to happen. And the people that you're meant to help, or you're going to help now going forward because you had the courage to share your story. And it's cool to get that response from the universe almost immediately around like, yeah, you're on the right path by them, the universe or God or whoever, putting that person right in your path and saying, this is the right path for you. This is the work that you need to be doing.
Yeah.
That's really
how
cool.
validating.
Exactly.
Takes so much courage, right? Like, Amelia, you just said it, having the courage to share your story and then encouraging Daniela that, hey, it's going to take a lot of courage. People are going to have their thoughts about it. But if you don't share, how many people are you not going to get to help? And how many people are going to stick in a situation where you were that you could have helped pull out of? And so I love your sort of provocative approach that like, hey, don't be selfish. Like you have the opportunity to help people just by sharing your story. And side benefit, it's also really helpful to you because it pulls your story out into the light, shame and all that stuff that lives in the dark. And so how do you heal when you're in that? And so I thank you both for your courage and
vulnerability
And Danielle, you just mentioned that Emilio's a veteran, a Marine. And so thank you. It's Veterans Day in the US. It's Remembrance Day in Canada. And so we just want to say extra special thank you, Emilio, for your service. And yesterday was the 250th birthday of the Marine. So happy 250th birthday.
Thank you for
Big
your
hugs to you.
You look great
Yeah.
for 250.
Right?
I look great for 250 years old.
You do. We
Little
do.
bit
You look
deep
fantastic.
missing or two. But Well, listen, thank you for acknowledging that. God bless you all. I love it. We're here in the U.S., New Jersey specifically, and you are in Canada. We had
Yes.
a great conversation before we got started. And Danielle, I absolutely love Canada. I mean, we love Canada. We've been there a number of
Many
times.
times.
We have a lot of co-authors, and I'm in Mississauga, Canada. Just a fact, a little side note. I'm in the Guinness World Record for was it 2020? Was it
Yeah, 2020.
2020? For being one of the most authors signing a book. We did this, the Guinness World Record. We did it in Canada.
Nice.
So
That's
a
awesome.
lot of great
How many
memories in
people?
Canada. Love
How
it.
many authors?
Yeah, so it was over.
It's 130 something.
I think
something like
it was 126, and
Oh,
it was
okay.
an existing record, and then we broke it collectively.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is
but
that-
You can
Canada-
actually Google it.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll do that. So, Emilio, Marines, how do you go from Marines to,
Helping people tell their stories.
yeah, talk to us a little bit about that.
Hey, I'll give you, and you guys know me already. I'll give you what I call the Reader's Digest version, right?
Sure.
Which typically means it's going to be short, but I ended up extending it. So it makes me somewhat of a liar, right? But anyway, honestly, a lot of us have our own shortcomings, right? And so in our own inadequacies, self-esteem issues, we all have them to some degree. For me, it was communication. So how interesting. Today, this is one of my strongest characters today. I help people with communication in writing and verbal. Think about this. And when I was younger, I had a speech impediment problem. In Spanish, the word is gago. Gago is one who stutters. Okay. And I got left back in first grade because I didn't know how to read. So can you imagine? Like today, when I share that story with folks, they're like, I can't even connect the dots because you're pretty forthcoming, you're articulate. It took a lot of work. And I mean a lot of personal inner work. And so when I got out of the Marine Corps, I wanted to share with people how, I did certain things and I overcame certain things. And again, here's the Reader's Digest version, right? Which is a little bit long. I went ahead and I wrote a book called 101 Ways to Thank a Veteran with a long subtitle. A how-to guide for honoring our country's most valuable resources, our veterans. Like the subtitle is longer than the title. So, but because of, I'm making a point here, because of the self-esteem issues, that little voice in the back kept saying, who are you to write a book? You got it back in first grade. Like, who do you think you are? We've all heard the imposter, right? Imposter syndrome. So that's a real thing for those of you who are out there watching this and you know that you want to do something and you're not doing it. Just understand, you're not alone. There's people who've gone through it. You have to go through it. But once you get on the other side of this, once you connect with the right people, Meredith, Craig, the likes of Daniela, right? There's something in this story for someone. There's something here. Maybe not be something I said. Maybe not be something Daniela says, but Meredith or Craig will say something. Maybe it's a question. For example, and I'm backtracking a little bit. There was one question. If you can live the second half of your life differently from the first, what would that be? Think about that question. Like, if you could change the second half of your life, like, what would be the one thing that you would do? For me, when I heard that, it was like somebody hit me in the gut. I'm like, to stop drinking and drugging. Because that was part of my story, my insecurities. I would have all this outside stuff going on, but I would find myself self-medicating with alcohol. Under the, I'm a big bad Marine. This is what I do. It's my culture. And my wife, she didn't buy that for a minute. Like when I would go out, she was like, what's going on? I said, that's what we do. I'm drinking. We're my Marines. I was self-medicating. It was really a cry for help.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going off on a tangent, but I just wanted to share that how we help people today is because I had to get real with myself, right? I had to get real, Craig, with myself. And once I was able to meet that Emilio, and begin the healing, because we can't heal in secret. I was able to write the story. And then like Daniela, people started to say, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And so that's when I recognized, okay, we really have something that we must continue on that is greater than me and Daniela.
Was there one thing, because you talked about doing a lot of inner work before you could get to that place. Was there one or two things that you did specifically that would help the audience like pull someone out? Like if they're in that place where they're struggling with their self-worth or self-confidence and they're not kind of where they want to be, what's one or two things that you did specifically to pull you out of that, to be the confident person who's able to speak and write and help people, like be the best communicator they can be? Like what did you do?
Thank you, brother. And the thing that comes up is shared pain is less pain, right? Whatever you're going through, man, you've got to share with another human being. This is where you can't heal in secret, right? And you and I are as sick as our secrets. And that's a fact that I've learned to come to it. And so I started to go ahead and just be more honest with people, right? Because it's easy for you and me to fool ourselves, right? I mean, we can fool ourselves, but when you have somebody that you love and care and they're struggling, and you know they're struggling because you're not being honest with yourself. So start there. Start being honest with yourself, again, and understand that it's selfish of you to keep your pain hidden, right? Because God created us, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, right? Whatever that is for you, understand you and I are sentient beings. That means we feel each other's pain. We feel it. Animals feel it, right? We're all connected. We're all made from the best stuff on earth, right? Remember Snapple? That was their brand, right? We're all made from the best stuff on earth. And so once you can be honest with yourself and release it, it's game over. You start there.
And so you said, Daniela, we know she's a no BS kind of gal, and she could see that you were not the best version of you. That couldn't have been an easy conversation, Daniela. At some point you had to say, dude, I see greatness in you, and whatever terminology you used with them.
Maybe it was more colorful.
I can use that on here.
But that couldn't have been an easy conversation, but you loved him enough to step into that awkward space. Talk to us in as much or little specifics as you want to, but how that conversation, what was required of you to be brave enough to step into that, and how he received it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It wasn't one conversation. It was over. We've been together, this May will be 8 years, I believe. And yeah, I have to do the math. No, 9 years. And from the beginning, I saw the patterns of his, behavior. And here's the thing. There's different, and he's admitted, was an alcoholic. So there's different levels of that, right? There's the everyday carrying the brown bag around with the bottle, drinking. There's the functioning alcoholic that drinks every day, but still goes to work. He could not drink maybe weeks, but he was the type that, boy, when he started, it was a 3 or 4 day binge.
I was a binge drinker is what they call it.
Yeah. And boy, that made up for if you drank every day. Let's just put it that way. So, the issue with me is because I've dealt with this in other areas of my life with, someone else that was close to me. So I knew how to deal with it, I thought, but he was a little extreme at times. So it was always, after he would go in these benders that I'm like, look, sometimes it would be, not so nice because, you get to a point where it's like, wow, it was just, a lot. So, but each time though, when I knew the right time to speak to him, I'm like, what are you doing? Number one, your health, number one, this is not good for your health, not good for what you're trying to do in your life success wise. Definitely not going to work here. This can only go so long where I have a lot of patience. I mean, God must think I'm a superhero. Let me tell you, because I do. I have a lot of patience with people that I really, truly love and care about. And I say this all the time. When I knew him in high school, I didn't know him like that, but I saw through that, like what you see now is what I saw in high school. Was always smiling, always talking, come down the hall, like, Mr. Emilio, and friendly and outgoing. But in my mind, like I'm very observant. I can meet you once and not even really meet you, just observe you. And I know like, yeah. And I'm like, he's overcompensating for something. Like nobody's that happy all the time. And, and like always, the way he was. So, and then fast forward when he shared with me, like it was not a happy home situation, and obviously his childhood traumas and things like that. So when he was on the outside, boy, he was, full of life, whatever, because there was a lot of pain on the inside, and I saw that. So when he finally shared that with me, I wasn't surprised. I just knew it was something. So I had sympathy for that. Right. So I didn't want to just give up on him because, I knew this side of him was there. I knew that, but here's the thing. We can tell someone, over and over and over and over again until they're ready. It's not going to happen. So it took, literally 7 years of our relationship, because he's now this month 17 months sober, which is awesome. Woo-hoo!
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks you.
Huge
No,
win.
Yeah. So after 7 years, I have to be honest, we're being honest. I was at my point. I'm like, either something's got to change or this, we just got to, go our separate ways. And here's the thing, again, he couldn't do it. I wasn't saying do it for me because like, oh, if you don't stop, I'm going to leave. No, that's not why you need to do this. You need to do this for you once and for all, because health was suffering, again, relationships, business, everything. So he took a good look at himself. Finally, it's like, they say, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. The same old say, it's not working for you. As successful as it looked on the outside, it wasn't. Like, yes, we were helping people share their stories. We had successful events or whatever. But on the other side of that, it wasn't 100% fulfillment with him because he still had this monkey on his back. We still had these issues.
Yeah.
But I noticed in the last 17 months, and he can, attest to this, God's going to give you, what you deserve when it's time, and even though we had little successes here and there, it was not like we were killing it or doing because of the behavior, so things were not the way it should be. But now, wow, like night and day, right? Because now God sees you can handle it. You couldn't handle success before. You weren't going to get it, but now he can handle it. He deserves it. He knows he's worthy. He's confident. He has a self-esteem up because now he realizes that was just numbing everything that he didn't want to deal with. So, I always say, like, you go from being hurt, like hurting, to healing to helping. You can't, like, I couldn't have helped somebody 30 years ago because I wasn't healed. Right. So like Craig said, it's all in the right timing. So it took me all those years of going through all kinds of things to finally be able to heal from sharing my story. And now, like both of us, like now we can help.
Yeah, so powerful. It was an act of service. You weren't doing it for you. You were doing it out of love for Emilio. And I think, Emilio, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you feel that. You can understand when someone is coming from a place of true love. Like they just want your best interests. They just have that at heart. You can feel that love and why they're wanting you to change. It's not for them. It's for you.
Man, no, thank you. And again, and she knows, I mean, I love her obviously, and she's tolerated more than she should have, right? Because I don't know if I would have been as patient if it was the way around. I'll be honest.
You wouldn't. I got a ready answer.
Yeah, like she really is a saint in my book, right? Because I don't have that kind of level of tolerance for certain behavior. Interesting. I'm just being honest, and we're being honest with each other. And so, yeah, she really has a way of expressing how she feels and just saying. She gave me an ultimatum, but it wasn't like I hit rock bottom. It was because I've done this before, right? I've had a year of sobriety in the past. It was just something about this time that was different, right? It was just different. The family that we've built together, because I have a son and a daughter that are older, that because of my lifestyle, my drinking lifestyle, I don't have a relationship with them today. I just don't, because I was an absentee father. So today, because when we've met, we have the grandbabies, right? We have the grandbabies. And I look at this whole thing in totality. If you see us with baby Tomas, baby Sebastian, all the pictures, I never had that, And so it was really that made me self-reflect, the little ones. And I remember one time, and we're being candid and open. We had the grandbaby over, and I was drinking, and somehow we ended up in an argument, and her son, right?
I had to call you.
Had to call him. And then he's coming over because he got the grandbaby. And while there was no problem, I recognized, like, man, like that kept haunting me. Like, wow, like I've been here before. Like, this is not a good thing. Grandbaby's here. We don't want to put people in a situation. Why am I here? Interesting enough, I was earning more money. So this is the psych out. I was earning more money when I was drinking because I was placing myself in these situations, but I was making poor decisions. I don't know if that makes sense. I would talk about born to risk. We talk about born to risk. I was taking risks that were not necessarily the best. They were more like what is the word? Reckless risk. They were reckless. And so, but I ended up having more money,
but being irresponsible
with it. Not a good steward of it. When I was doing that behavior. And again, as Daniela pointed out, it wasn't an everyday thing, But when I did go out binge drinking, I was smoking cigars. I got no business smoking cigars.
Mr. Asthma over
Mr.
here.
Asthma, here I am. Here I am
That's a
drinking.
great idea.
I'm like, acting like a big shot.
And then coughing up a lung all night that I'm listening to with no sympathy because I'm like, see, I'm that one. I'm like, I feel I'll help you, but I'm like, you know what you're doing. What are you smoking cigars for? Yeah. It's all with the lifestyle,
Yeah.
It's this delusional lifestyle, right? And Daniela mentioned this, success, without fulfillment. Tony Robbins speaks this. Success without fulfillment is failure, right? So I was having some successes here and there, but the fulfillment was really low, really, really low. And so again, just self-reflecting, being honest with myself, recognizing, my God, all these years, in and out of relationships. And here I meet a woman that I know I want to spend the rest of my life with. And I'm about to let that all go for a drink. And for me, in my life, I know that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough.
Right.
Yeah. I just love the responsibility that you both took for your relationship, and in this moment that we're talking about, this situation, and how you both look, I'm responsible for me. I can make my choices, and here's my part in this. So Daniela speaking her truth, and Emilio looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? Yeah, like something's got to change, and then taking the responsibility of making that change so that you guys can go now and join forces and change many people's lives. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I actually you mentioned Born to Risk, which, we got to be a part of Born to Risk volume
Dose.
So
your stories here? Yeah.
Chapter 24.
Together, 24, chapter 24, both of you.
Tell us how Born to Risk was
born.
Yeah. So prior to this, in fact, Daniela, I didn't know she was grabbing these, but prior to this, we had did anthologies in Canada. And so one day I was in the shower, I wanted to do my own anthology, and this was the first one that was birthed. Spiritual Fitness Survivor, how to turn your struggles into strength. Same concept, right? People sharing their stories. And so we got to learn a lot about people's stories. And I talk about here, they say that books change people and people change the world, right? So think about that. And then it says, you will never be the same after reading stories like this. I know I'm always changed when I hear somebody share a story and they're open and they're honest and they're raw. So here we cannot heal in secret. So that's really the spark. That's really the spark. So when we started to do this, I think we're on the 5th edition now.
Yeah.
5th edition. People were like crying when they're sharing their stories. Some people couldn't even get past their chapters. I was like, wow. So there's something cathartic about sharing your story, not only for you, but also for the person on the other end reading it. And we just kept experiencing that. So after the Spiritual Fitness edition, we did one. This was a really tough one. I'll let Danielle talk about this briefly. But this one, we thought that it would be pretty easy to fill because of the need. But I tell you, how hard was it to get people into this chapters?
Yeah, because like myself, right? Where number one, I've dealt with all kinds of women that are in these I had 3 editions, and some they were just, shy about bringing it out. Others, they were still hiding from this person, so they, didn't obviously want to put it out like that. And then others, like where my issue was like being judged, right? Like, what are people going to think when they hear this? And, I had a response for all of that, right? I even got the woman that was still hiding. She has, I guess you could say, an alias, a different name. You don't know like what state she moved to, and she uses a different name. I said, you don't have to use your real name in here. And here's the other thing: these chapters are not about bashing our exes and using names. And no, it's about sharing what you went through and sharing how you got out of that and where you are now. So you want to leave the end of the chapter on a high note, right? Not depressing, not sad, not angry, just like, hey, I can get through this and so can you. So, I don't think there was anyone really that ended up at the end of like having several conversations that refused to do it. They got the courage and they were grateful. They were so happy that they did it, and it, gives them the confidence that they got through this and they can move on. So many women got, whether it was speaking engagements or just women reaching out, and they could help them and give them resources and to let them know like, hey, you're not alone. And let me tell you, 30 plus years ago when I was in it, I didn't know these resources. I didn't go back to my parents. I didn't let them know. I was, ashamed and embarrassed and just didn't want to bring that out. So I'm sure there were resources, but I didn't know about them. But you're talking 30 plus years later. There's so much out there now.
And I'm sorry, just for context, because I know she went right into it. We're talking about behind closed doors, domestic violence, and you can too.
I can
So
survive.
I can survive domestic violence. So this we thought would be an easy book because of the need out there, how prevalent domestic violence is. But I tell you, we had people back out of the book, and respectfully and understandingly so. But so this book we haven't published in the last couple of years.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So now we're bringing it back. But yeah, so just how was it birthed, right? So you see the evolution of Born to Risk. So we went with more of a spiritual side, spiritual fitness, right? People sharing their story of healing, to then bringing it today to entrepreneurs and veterans. And this is where you two come in, where you share your story, where we are like, what's the greatest risk? We ask everyone one question: what's the greatest risk that you've ever taken that has produced the biggest result? So that's how this evolved. And it's just been really a blessing to be a part and witness people from all over Canada, from Japan,
someone from Malta.
Malta. I mean, everyone. So thank you for asking the question. And yeah, we love the fact that you two are a big part of this.
Yeah, we were honored to be a part of that. It was a really cool experience. We got to write the chapter, and then you guys host events. So talk to us a little bit about that, because we were at one of your events in Philadelphia on the yacht. You create an experience when you co-author a book with you guys. You get to kind of go on an experience. There's a mastermind and they're speaking, and talk to us a little bit about, what you create for people after the fact. Because it's not just a chapter.
Yes.
There's more to it than that.
Thank you. No, thank you for that. And again, she does a lot of the behind. Without Daniela, none of this happens, because I'm the front guy here where I can connect with people. And I believe when you and I met, all of us, we got talking. Yeah, you met me. We talked about it, and I shared with you how we do it. But Daniela's on the background, and she's the one taking care, handling proposals, venue issues. And so what we've learned, and Daniela mentioned this earlier in the interview with you, that we didn't like the way we were treated. Like, someone is sharing something as strong as their story is powerful, and it's their identity, right? Your identity. Now, a lot of people don't share their stories today because they have this fear of being vulnerable. And you talked about this, Craig, right? There's power. There's a superpower in being vulnerable. I think those are your words. And so how do you help people do that? Well, what we've learned is other people expose, they really, what's the word I'm looking for? They play on you on they're like predators, and they know you want to share your story, and they'll charge you as much money as they can. And then once you pay up, they leave you. And then now you feel almost guilty, shame and guilt. Like that happened to me. I paid thousands of dollars. Then when I went back to the publisher, I was like, hey, so now that I got my published, now I got my chapter, can you help me? Oh yeah, we can certainly help you, Emilio. That'll be another 5,000, 10,000. I was like, but I just paid you $5,000. And so that's when the birth of the co-author network. That's when we looked at ourselves, we're like, we're never going to do that to anybody. We'll never go ahead and publish somebody's book.
It's like
exploit. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So that's why when you both came, not only did you share your beautiful story about your risk that you both taken together as a couple, but you noticed we created a venue and we curated an environment where you got to meet other entrepreneurs. We did it in a bit of a lavish style with the Benjamin Franklin yacht. We created even the VIP night, and we did all that because now, after the fact, you both go, wow, that was a beautiful experience, right? Because we honored you. Do you agree?
100%.
100%.
Absolutely. Talk to us about what you've got working on, what you're working on now.
Yeah.
Because this isn't this Philly. This is just the start. This is just the beginning for you two. What are we working on now?
Yeah, so as far as Born to Risk, we're on the 3rd edition, and that's launching in August at the Ultimate Beach Mastermind in Virginia Beach. It's a 3-day event. It's going to be amazing. We're having speaker competition like Meredith. You're one of our champions.
Champion.
And Craig, hey, he threw his hat in the ring too. You did great.
You guys were double dipping, man. You're
like, one of us is going to win.
Somebody's going to take it. That's good. You guys bet the odds.
So we're doing that. But now we added something, Emilio added something special, not just the signature Born to Risk edition, he has the inaugural Veterans edition.
Yes.
And wow, the response to that has been just overwhelming,
Yeah,
really, just
fastest.
amazing. He can share it with you about that.
Thank you, love. Yeah, thank you for the question. Thank you for the opportunity to share with your viewers again what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? Because at this point, it's really a mission. At this point, it really is in our lives, we've retired, if you will. So this is about more like passion projects, right? Like, man, before the lights go out, we get called home. Like, how many people can we help? And we do it in such a fun way. It does take a lot of resources. It does take a lot of energy, a lot of bandwidth, but we feel good at the end of the day that we get to do this. And I call it playing with energy now, right? So it's like I'm in the sandbox with my friends from Canada, Meredith and Craig, because of this chapter that we're tethered. Guess what? Now we're on this podcast. Now other people get to hear about your story, get to hear how we love on others. And so telling your story truly is something that has changed my life. It's something that I believe we'll continue to do. We absolutely love it. And anybody out there, listen, whether you tell your story with the Co-Author Network, like a veteran-owned and operated business out of New Jersey, here in the U.S., or you tell it with Meredith and Craig. And I'm hoping that they're going to announce an anthology of their own, because I've encouraged them to go ahead and start their own couples anthology. Remember we talked about that?
We did.
did talk
we
about
did
that.
talk about
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, when you share your story in a book, understand, it's your legacy in print. Think about it. It's your legacy in print. Once we pass away, guess what? Maybe people will talk about us. Maybe they'll have your picture, my picture on a wall. But when you have it in print, it'll live forever. It will live forever. And one last note on that. You set the record straight, because people will talk about you. They'll talk about me, and they never get it right. They'll never get it right. But if Meredith's words, right, and Craig's words here, this will outlive us all, my friends. And it's in your word.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, very cool. And you guys do so much work together. You have multiple businesses, you're entrepreneurs, and obviously we talk a lot about relationships. And so talk to us a little bit about how the intersection of marriage and entrepreneurship has impacted both your marriage, but also your businesses.
Yeah, great question.
It's so easy. It's so easy, by the way.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, of course.
Breeze.
I never want to hang them.
Can you think of two easier things, marriage and entrepreneurship? They're both easy. You combine them.
It's easy.
Nothing.
Got it in the bag.
No.
It's in the bag.
Yeah, it's just like having kids. Easy. It's a breeze. Yeah, you know what? We have such opposite personalities, right? Like he's very, as you know, high energy and enthusiastic and talkative, and I'm kind of on the other extreme. Like I like to joke around a lot, right? But I'm more reserved. I'm more laid back, or I don't get excited and about things that you don't really like. I'm like, just take it easy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more like, it's okay. So it's kind of like we balance each other. Yeah, he's a spazzo over here. So, we just kind of balance each other out. Right. And I let him be him. This is the thing. I have to let him be him. And it's kind of like I look at it with our grandson, Tomas, right? He's very, same thing, high energy, and, he's all over the place. And sometimes, you want to be like, hey, stop. But you know what? You just got to let him, just let them be. And let them get their energy out. Let them say what they want to say. As long as it's not harmful or hurtful, obviously, you got to let people be. So it took me a while. It really took me actually probably the first 2 years to really adjust to his personality, because I'm used to the opposite, right? I was married over 20 years prior, total opposite, so coming into this, I'm like, whoa. And at the beginning, it's a funny short story. We have a friend, Austin Haynes. He's one of our mentors, actually. Great guy. I don't know if you've seen him in the community in CLA, but he had known him, prior to meeting me. And then I got to know him going to his events and kind of became like a confidant. Like I could talk to him, right? So I'm like, hey, I'm having an issue. Like Emilio, as a woman, I'm not a jealous person. I'm just like, where in the Puerto Rican culture and all, like the way they are with, when they see somebody like women or whatever, it's very affectionate, right? So I'm like, is he flirting? You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't, you know, so I was getting a little bothered and I'm like, okay, how do I handle this? So I was talking to him one day, Austin, and I was explaining it. And he goes, Danielle, he's like, Emilio flirts with men, flirts with everybody. Like, it's just his personality. And like, just sometimes it takes somebody to just say something. And I swear, like, after he said that, I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, that's just his personality. It's not flirting. It's not anything. So I'm like, and then I let it go, you know? So like, you just have to kind of, so it took me a while to learn him. He had to learn me. I'm, you know, a different personality, I guess.
I roll.
Yeah.
That drove me crazy.
The Italian like way is like, you know, yeah, do what you want, whatever. But then he's like, wait, does she really mean do what I want? Shut up. Like you have to like get to learn each other, but it's not easy. Yeah, sometimes, you know, we get into it. It's to be honest, you know, we get into it. And then but we've learned to like, okay, let's walk away, you know, and then come back together. So, you know, it's not for the weak, you know, it's not. And look at Meredith's like, yeah.
By the way, I'm Puerto Rican. She's Italian.
And Ukraine.
And Ukraine. So what happens is the police come at least once a week.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun, you know.
So I heard like let them be them, and you basically had to get used to each other's styles and personalities and the way you do things. Is there any like nuggets or beyond let them be, but when you work so closely with each other, there's bound to be disagreement, friction. Like, I think that we need to go this way. We both agree on where we're going, but sometimes we disagree on the route to get there. So do you have any suggestions or tricks or tips to keep the route kind of, keep it on the road, I guess, if you will, keep it out of the ditches?
Amen. No, listen, great question. And again, I co-sign on everything she said because it's facts, right? What she talked about. And you and I, all of us here, and those that are watching this on the replay, let's take work. They take effort, right? And so our brains, we all want the shortcut, right? We all want, you know, the easy fixes, and that just doesn't exist. So luckily for us, the anchor is our faith. So that's been the one constant thing, right? Humor has also been the thing. Find ways, and our mentor, when she would go reach out to somebody for like, what's going on with Emilio? How can I handle him? And then I would come back and I would ask the same thing. I'm stressed out. Outside of my serenity prayer, by the way, for those of you who don't know serenity prayer, man, that's kept me out of all kinds of stuff. God grant me, whatever you believe your God is. Okay. I believe it's Jesus Christ, but it could be different for someone watching it. My serenity prayer was, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I would say that in my breath when I was feeling something towards her or to anyone else, right? But at the end of the day, it really had nothing to do with her or anyone else. It was just an inner reflection. Because a lot of times, you and I both know, all of us, people are just a mere reflection of us, right? People are just reflecting on us. And a lot of times we project. So if I'm jealous, I'm going to project that to her. And so the serenity prayer got me through a lot. And the other thing is find ways for humor. You know, humor would be it. I think you guys
change your state.
Change your state.
What would you do? You would do that funny thing with your hands to like make me laugh.
So I want to hear from you guys because I know we're closing this down, but I know my friend told me when I knew that I was wrong, I would come up in the morning and I knew that I was wrong, and it was difficult to just say I'm sorry because there's ego, all kind of crazy stuff involved. So I would go up, pull my pajamas up to my chest, and I would go, hey, listen, about last night, I'm sorry.
I'm laughing.
Right?
You know?
So I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said this. That was just stupid of me. Now, of course, it's humanly impossible to be upset when you're smiling. You know, it's just, so, you know, we would laugh and then, you know, praise God, we would get through it. I'd love to hear how you guys handle it.
I love it because I think you're right. It's almost impossible to get mad at someone when you're staring at their nipples. Like when they just like, almost impossible.
We've got a friend who always apologizes to his wife by saying, I'm sorry I was a turd. And using a word like turd, she starts to, how do you stay, it changes your state. It changes your mindset. It changes, like, bringing in the laughter and the humor. None of us have enough fun everything gets very serious very quickly, especially in business,
Yes.
right? Like business gets serious, your marriage gets serious. The more you can laugh, like it is
Game changer.
we talk about there are no silver bullets. Entrepreneurship is hard, marriage is hard, like everything worth having is hard. But the closest thing we've got to a magic pill or a silver bullet is laughing, having fun together.
Fun, humor, adventure. Like it's a core pillar for us. I was super stoked and excited to hear you say humor, laugh at each other, laugh with each other, laugh at yourself, laugh at the ridiculousness of it all. Because really, at the end of the day, it is all just ridiculousness. Like we're just going through this life and we're all trying to
figure it out.
Trying to figure it out. And just
None of us really actually know anything that we're like. None of us know what to do. Like we're all just figuring it out as we go. We all think we know what we're doing, but we don't know.
And I'm grateful for you guys because I love, and I'm going to encourage anybody watching this. They need to hire you too because when we met you guys, we saw the challenges that you guys put out. We were doing some of them, and we're like, wow, we love that. So we actually had invested in coaches, and they got us through relationship coaches like what you guys are doing in your own way, in your own lane. Is so helpful. So anybody watching this, guys, we're not getting paid for this, but we truly believe it. If you've come this far and there's something here that we said and you're struggling in your marriage or relationship, listen, connect with Meredith and Craig because they've been through that road. They've interviewed, if not hundreds, thousands of people. They know something that you currently don't. So that's really a shameless plug for you guys because you guys are helping people and I'm telling you, it takes a village.
Yeah, no one could do it alone. You really
No.
can't.
Yeah, it's so true.
No. Everything like I said, everything we're doing is hard. So there's people to help. Why not?
Man.
Why not ask for help? It's hard. And I want to go back to one thing you said, Amelia, before we wrap, talking about, bringing humor in, but the conflict, conflict is inevitable in any relationship, especially in a marriage, especially when you're trying to build a business together. Like there are going to be conflicts. And if there aren't, huge red flag. So there's going to be conflicts. And I love that you guys will take a break when you need it and then come back together and repair and apologize. If that cycle continues, that's recipe for success. Conflict, take a break, repair it. Apologizing is not easy. We've all been taught that being wrong is bad, so none of us like to apologize. It hurts our ego and all those things. But it's a necessary part of the process so that you can repair and keep going. And so just really proud and really impressed with you guys of maintaining that cycle of success to keep your marriage and your business on the tracks because it is not freaking easy.
Conflict is inevitable, but combat doesn't have to be. And you guys are a living, breathing example of that. So,
man, thank you.
Where can folks connect with you if they like? I love Emilio and Daniela's energy. I want to be a part of their world. I
want some of Daniela's delicious delights.
I want some energy bites, but I also have a story I want to tell. Like, how do they get a hold of it?
So there's a number of ways. Daniela's deliciousdelights.com is her website, and she's all over social media. I mean, just prepare that if you're going to watch any of her videos, you should have a napkin and maybe like a drool thing, because I mean, we get a lot of that. She's like, oh my God. So Daniela, her food, I shouldn't say I'm the test dummy. I gladly go, can I try it? Can I try it? And so sometimes she's got stuff for clients and she goes, I can't find it. I'm like, oh, that was for the client? I thought that was for me. So we ran into those conflicts where I've eaten up the profits. I've eaten up plenty of the profits. So that created its own storm. But again, we're part of what we're saying. But please reach out social media. BornToRisk.com is one of the ways where if you want to share your story, we would love to have a conversation and let people know, hey, I heard about you guys through Meredith and Craig and their podcast and their programs. And that helps us to really make a decision if we can work together, right? Because we don't share everybody's story. We refer a lot of people out because there has to be an alignment. Mm-hmm. And so if you're an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying. So please reach out to us, social media. EmilioRoman.com is another way to reach out to me. And I would say the best way is reach out to Meredith and Craig and say, hey, can you make an introduction? That's the best way. So please connect with Meredith and Craig, and they'll make an introduction, and that'll give you more brownie points.
Love it. I also want to say Daniela's Delicious Delights. Like,
Can confirm.
yeah,
Delicious.
we've had the opportunity to work with the co-author network and work with you guys on a book, and we've had the opportunity to eat Daniela's food. And I will not pick a favorite, but I will say you need to do both. Highly recommend.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And we'll have all your links, all the websites, all the social, and also ours, so you can get in touch with us so we can introduce you to Daniela and Emilio.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being so honest and vulnerable and for sharing your wisdom. So we appreciate you so much.
Guys, you know, we love you. We truly love you guys. And listen, life shrinks or expands according to one's courage. Guys, if take the courage, go for it, right? Everything you and I want, you've heard this before. It's on the other side of fear. If you're struggling with a relationship, if you're about to get into a relationship and you're not sure if you should, go ahead and connect with Meredith and Craig. Like, they know what they're doing.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much, guys.
you.
God bless.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Road of Life podcast. Remember, your business will only grow as strong as your marriage does.
So what's one action you're going to take this week to put something you learned in this episode into practice? Because we love a good chit chat as much as the next person does. But without action, stay where you are.
If you want to turn your marriage into the engine that drives your business forward, instead of the brakes keeping it stuck, book a free marriage and business strategy session with us at 200percentmarriage.com/strategy call.
We'll see you next week.
Road of life, yes, you own it.